Good morning. This is Pastor Brian. Thank you for joining me as we read a psalm a day. Today we're reading Psalm 51 together. I'll be reading from the Common English Bible. And as we take a look at Psalm 51, the subtitle talks about a psalm that was written when the prophet Nathan had come to visit David just after he'd been with Bathsheba. So just keep that in mind as we read through the psalm together and see if that kind of influences your perspective of what you get out of it. Have mercy on me, God, according to your faithful love. Wipe away my wrongdoings, according to your great compassion. Wash me completely clean of my guilt. Purify me from my sin, because I know my wrongdoings. My sin is always right in front of me. I've sinned against you, you alone. I've committed evil in your sight. That's why you are justified when you render your verdict completely correct when you issue your judgment. Yes, I was born in guilt, in sin, from the moment my mother conceived me. And yes, you want truth in the inmost hidden places. You teach me wisdom in the most secret space. Purify me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and celebration again. Let the bones you crushed rejoice once more. Hide your face from my sins. Wipe away all my guilty deeds. Create a clean heart for me, God, and put a new, faithful spirit deep inside me. Please don't throw me out of your presence. Please don't take your Holy Spirit away from me. Return the joy of your salvation to me, and sustain me with a willing spirit. Then I will teach wrongdoers your ways, and sinners will come back to you. Deliver me from your violence, God, God of my salvation, so that my tongue can sing of your righteousness. Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will proclaim your praise. You don't want sacrifices. If I gave an entirely burnt offering, you wouldn't be pleased. A broken spirit is my sacrifice, God. You won't despise a heart, God, that is broken and crushed. Do good things for Zion by your favor. Rebuild Jerusalem's walls. Then you will again want sacrifices and righteousness, entirely burnt offerings and complete offerings. Then bulls will again be sacrificed on your altar. Well, that's the end of Psalm 51. There's lots of things that jump out, and I do think that reading this with the understanding that Bathsheba and him had just been together does kind of influence how you read and kind of understand this psalm. But I mean, there's, the created me a clean heart, which is a wonderful phrase and a great song, which we see in verse 10, jumped out at me as well. The other one that uh, popped out to me is verse 15. Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will proclaim your praise. And then it continues on, which isn't as popular, but you don't want sacrifices or burnt offerings. You wouldn't be pleased. Instead, a broken spirit is my sacrifice, and you won't despise a heart, God, that is broken and crushed. So, lots of great passages in here that we could pluck up and focus on. And those are just kind of three of the ones that really stuck out to me. Create a clean heart in me. Lord, open my lips and I will declare your praise. And that, God doesn't want sacrifices. And, again, he goes on to say that, again, one day there will be sacrifice. But I think what he's saying is that we should really focus on the real intention of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and not just to make sacrifices for the sake of making sacrifices. And clearly, David is going through some turmoil in what had happened with Bathsheba, and so no, just doing a sacrifice probably wouldn't have been the way to really show that change in heart. And so David is recognizing that maybe more needs to be done, and that it can't just be that that typical going through the motions of apologizing without really changing his ways. So that's kind of what I pulled out. That's how I interpreted this psalm in light of that heading with the Bathsheba note in there. So, what did you get out of it? What did you like? What didn't you like? How did the Bathsheba text or note influence your reading of it? Um, did those other verses that I pointed out stuck out to you? Write them down. Share them with a friend. Share them with us. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, please, and God bless.